Welcome to the Red Gauge Podcast. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. It helps out the show a ton. We are your hosts. I'm Kyle, and this is Josh. And today we are joined by the distinguished Colton Paller. There, I got one in.
Distinguished.
That's
a good one.
The real question for the day is this shirt going to be so annoying that you can't watch the video?
Oh, yeah. You think that's showing up like that?
I don't know. It looks like some kind of psychedelic fever dream.
I wonder if
it
actually might be good because people might get hypnotized into watching the whole YouTube video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like and subscribe.
I guess we're not going to find out till the end unless you're going to take your shirt off right now.
It's kind of funny how the lens, like, you're twice as big as us, but you look twice as small.
I'm glad that more than one person has seen this. That's why I picked this side over here.
Yeah, you guys have really got to help us out with the clicks and the engagement and stuff so we can afford a better camera.
Yeah. I'm easily the smallest person in this room.
Yeah.
I like it because Colton's wearing all black, so you can't really tell. I'm just going to, people are going to be really disappointed when they meet me. Like, all of our fan, when he comes and meets us, he's like, oh, Monroe, I thought you were a bigger dude.
Yeah. Such is life.
Yeah.
Such
I
is life.
won't ever meet anybody.
Maybe we'll just keep this same wall-eyed camera forever, and it'll just be like a fun feature.
Yeah. If we ever switch spots, I'm going to look like a pencil.
Do you want to do it right now just for
Nope.
fun, musical chairs?
No.
Okay. All right. Anyway, Colton, how you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah?
Doing good. Happy to be here, you know?
Yeah, we appreciate you coming in.
Oh, anytime.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, let's get into it. How did you get into sport?
Into
Anything.
How'd you start?
What was the first thing?
Yeah, first sport for
It was
you.
like punching a deer or something?
Yeah. You remember the fitness gram pacer test?
Yeah.
Of all things? Yeah, 8th grade.
You were like,
That's-
you slayed it?
No.
Oh.
No, I did not. I did okay, but this one kid beat me, and I'm like, there's no way,
Uh-huh.
you know? And ever since, that's like the pinnacle right there. That was the...
You hold on to it.
Do you
You're like,
remember the
yeah.
kid by chance?
I don't remember his name, but I remember his face. You know, just...
Because that would be awesome to look him up and be like,
Yeah.
just so you know.
Thank you.
Yeah. You inspired this young man.
I remember doing some of those, like late elementary and middle school and stuff when, nobody's hit puberty yet and the really athletic kids aren't the really athletic kids at the end of high school.
Sure.
And so you go up against, your buddy Mike or whatever, and they just destroy you. And then 2 years later, they couldn't even play anymore.
Yeah, the cigarettes have started to take a toll.
Dude,
Yeah.
that wasn't the story of my life. 140-pound freshman,
Uh-huh.
and then late bloomer, you know. I'm sure you remember. I was like 150 pounds sophomore year.
Yeah, so just so people know, we'll get into why we're necessarily having Colton on, his successes, but he was, I believe, what year did you graduate?
2016 in high school.
2016, so 15, 14. So you were a sophomore when I started coaching.
Yeah.
up at Shelton.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I had coached him, and then he went on to do some pretty cool things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So started with the fitness Pacers test.
Yeah, 8th grade or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
I played Little League soccer and football and all that, and then I took a break, I think 6th or 7th grade till freshman year. Then I was on the football team, but I'm, itty-bitty C-team guy.
Uh-huh.
Because there were freaks on that roster, like David Ajamu, Ralph Kenny.
Yeah, both
Brian
Division
Noel.
One.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was 2 Division I football players and a professional rugby player there.
Yeah. And being, that young, whatever, you just look at them like they're not human. They're just straight something.
Well, to be
freak.
fair, Brian Noel is not a human.
Yeah.
Nobody with that large of a head is human.
Yeah. So, I was just kind of a goofball then too. I was just there that first year.
Mm-hmm.
And then did track, whatever. Very unremarkable, like 100 feet.
I was going to say,
Like
what
a one
events
discus.
did you start right away with throwing, even though you were undersized, or were you out there?
Yeah, they didn't know what to do with me. I was doing 400, 800-mile discus.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Everything.
That's the Monroe split. I did the 800 meter and then shot put and discus,
Yeah.
which you could imagine I just didn't do well in either of those. If those are your event splits, you're probably not killing it in either of them.
Yeah. And just, 100 feet with a 1K disc, 80 feet, whatever it is. And then, sophomore year comes along. I didn't even know what wrestling was. I thinking it's WWE stuff, and then it turns out we have a wrestling
How
team.
disappointed you were.
'Cause, yeah,
You showed up with a character, like you had a bit.
yeah,
You're like, I'm the tax collector.
Oh yeah.
And my best friend at the time, Riley Rife, I don't know if you remember him.
I don't know.
Teeny tiny little dude. He was a 106 and 113 guy his whole high school career. But he told me to try out for it or whatever sophomore year, because that's when we go from the junior high to high school.
Oh right.
And yeah, like I'm saying, I didn't even know.
You still were. The freshmen were still at
Yeah.
the junior high.
Yep.
When you were there. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Weird.
You
right?
are old.
I know. It's catching up, dude. These bones are getting old. But yeah, I don't know. I got in there, and he was a freak. Like him and I, when we were kids, we were just running around town, terrorizing the night. Like we're riding our bikes all over town. Probably, shouldn't have been doing that as little kids, like 8th grade till sophomore year, whatever, running around, just doing stupid stuff. Not getting any like legal trouble or anything like that, but we're not playing video games and hanging out. We're like,
I was gonna say, more kids should probably be out. Riding their bikes.
Yeah.
and that was like the time when like the Navy SEAL stories were really coming out, like Lone Survivor and all that. And dude, we were just in it. We're like diving in the creek, running around, soaking wet. Like, let's go get some, And anyways, show up that wrestling year, and I just get my ass kicked every day, dude. Like I'm 155 pounds. I think that first year I was wrestling 160 was the weight class. And freaking I had no idea what I'm doing. Just getting beat up. But I could get beat up, and I'll keep coming back.
Pretty important for wrestlers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I liked it a lot. My parents my mom hated it. She absolutely wanted me out of that. I'm like, dude, no way. This is
What was her big objection? Was she worried you were going to get hurt?
Just thought it was weird.
Okay.
Dudes in singlets or whatever. I'm like, you just don't understand, Mom.
Could you go back to jumping in Goldsboro Creek?
Yeah.
And running around Shelton like a Navy SEAL?
Yeah. Yeah, just getting my ass handed to me every day. Like, I lost more matches than I won on the JV roster or whatever. Then the end of that season comes along, and I couldn't make varsity for 160. Then there's 172. They already had 2 guys there. They had 1 guy, I think, at 182, and then I think they send 2 to, what is it called, league or sub-region?
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
districts, whatever
Yeah.
the regional area.
So I'm 155 rolling up to 182, right? the good thing is I was in the 3/8 Comaneros, or I guess we were at the time. They didn't have a whole lot of guys in 182 for some reason. And I got beat up enough to, like, survive to regionals.
Mm-hmm.
And then got there and just got smoked. Just, like, got smoked. But I loved it. Wrestling taught me, like, everything that I needed to know. Like, the toughness aspect, the nutrition aspect, at a very basic levels or whatever. And then, it taught me if you train hard enough, things will happen for you eventually. So anyways, get smoked there. Then it's track season. I can't remember what I did sophomore year track, whatever. Did not go to state, whatever.
You're a participant.
Yeah, I'm just there. I'm
Yeah.
just there having fun. And doing all sorts of different events, running, and I didn't know where I belonged. I'm a tiny little scrawny guy here.
Mm-hmm.
And then but then I start growing and developing, puberty, whatever, testosterone's, we're rocking and rolling now.
Mustache is coming in.
Yeah, so then, that next year, junior year, made varsity for football. I think I was a wide receiver in a corner.
I do not remember you at wide receiver.
Right,
But
yeah. No, just super just there. Like, still not a very good athlete yet. And I forgot how that season went too. Pretty unremarkable. Never went to playoffs or whatever. But then that next wrestling season, things start clicking for me. And was able to make – I actually started JV still. But I'm like 170 something, but I'm wrestling 182 now, legitly.
Mm-hmm.
And I can scrap, like just a tough kid from Shelton.
Right.
Scrapping. I think that season too, the Hammerhead tournament up in Central Kitsap. Pretty big, very tough tournament.
Yeah, big deal.
Yeah. And I took it so serious, dude. Like, I just took everything so violently personal. Like, I felt like if I lost, I'm letting not only myself down, but my family name down. I'm letting the school down, like my coaches, all of it. And probably not the best approach, but that's just how I was.
Listen, I've been obviously diving a lot into wrestling lately. I'm late to the game, but become a huge fan. And violently personal might be the way all of the successful guys take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Anytime I hear stories from that, like the top level of college, like you need that.
Yeah.
You know,
I was really kind of weird about looking back at it, kind of weird about it, but it just always stuck with me. I'd have like 1,000-yard stare, dude. Like, anytime I competed in anything, I had no emotion at all. Like, I wouldn't get too pumped up, would not get too angry in the moment. But, like, afterwards, like, when it's all said and done, especially when I lost, it's just like, dude, I just shut down. I'm thinking, like, why did I lose? I should not be losing. And, yeah, so that tournament was hard. I got popped in the nose so hard by this dude's head. I was in referee position, just drilled me. Dude, faucet. Just, I didn't know I could bleed that much. They wanted to, like, cauterize my nose. I'm like, no. Anyways, they're shoving stuff in my nose, wrapping it, and got tape, all that. And I think that was the meet where I had a really defining moment. Because, like, I go shake the hands of the other coaches, and then I just go back to the stands and eat something, but I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not, like, get away from me, dude. I gotta go murder the next guy.
it was like the change, right?
Yeah. But Coach Lacey grabbed me by my arm because I'm in my zone. Like, I know I suck, whatever. But he, like, didn't pin me to the wall, but he grabbed my arm, and I can't exactly remember what he said, but it was along the lines of, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to just stay mediocre your entire life. And that was just like, he's so right, you know. Anyways, started that season JV. By the end of the season, I'm varsity. Go to postseason. I think I won league. You might have to fact check me, Jamie, on that one.
That's
Yeah.
me. I'm Jamie.
So 182 or
Bust
whatever.
out the Google.
Then get to regionals. I want to say it took 4th or 3rd, something like that. Go to state. Honestly, probably have no right even being there, you know, like, that's kind of a big deal, state. Win and lose some matches. I end up taking 8th place, whatever. My first state medal.
Day 2?
Yeah,
You
got to day 2.
Yep, awesome.
I think I lost one, or I won one, lost one, won one. Go to the next day, lose.
Yep.
8th place. And, whatever. Like, on to the next thing. It's always how I've been, too. It's like,
Well, and like I said, I didn't wrestle. I've told the story before. I made it to the day they passed out singlets in 7th grade and never came back.
There was a girl involved.
Yeah. Yeah, my first wrestling match was supposed to be against a girl I had a crush on, and I was like, she's going to beat me. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, I think about that. Like, obviously, with both, like, powerlifting, things I coach, powerlifting and football. Powerlifting, you kind of know by state where you fit into the scheme. You know, maybe you're going for 1st or 2nd. Maybe you're going for maybe 3rd, 4th. But it's not – the person that's in 8th doesn't come in with they shouldn't come in with the illusions of grandeur that they're going to go up 500 pounds in one meet and get first. So it kind of –
I would.
there's not that, like, setting up for, like, that disappointment. Like, maybe you won or lost. And then football, like, everybody stops. Like, we all start together, and then our last game happens at the same exact time. But we're like, wrestling is so individualized that the Washington State championships were just the last couple of days. I've been up at the Tacoma to go and watching. But just, like, watching the kids I'm rooting on's last match happen that when they're scraping themselves off the mat, and just that like individual moment where so much individual work has gone in. And I just don't feel like it's the same feeling with football, because you have a brotherhood that you all get to enjoy that final, misery together. But just like it's such a final thing. I was very fascinated like watching the kids' reactions of like that was an entire off season and an entire season of working to this point, and right there, whether they were just better or there was a mistake or you messed up, it's over. You don't get another shot. Some of you were seniors, that was it.
Yep.
I was like, it's so different in its finality than I feel like the other sports that I've coached. It's just very interesting, like psychologically. Like I feel like that prepares you, if you can handle it. Like it probably could go the other way as well, but if you can handle it like that, prepares you for a lot of things in life. If you can handle that disappointment, because there's only one kid in that whole every bracket that's going to leave there feeling achieved. Now you could feel happy that you got third or fifth or sixth, and that's not what I'm saying, but only one guy's winning every match in the weight class. So
yeah.
And
I guess I should back it up a little bit too. So that fitness Grand Pacer test or whatever, and even before that, my dad's a huge Michigan football fan.
Okay.
Huge, my entire life. So especially by the time I'm getting to high school, I'm like, I need to go play Michigan football. Like, I need to make that happen at all costs. And so once I started getting into the sports and taking it very serious, I was training so hard, dude. At least I thought I was. I'm like, there's no ice bath there, but I'd come home after lifting and whatever practice, and I just fill the bathtub with ice pack. All the ice packs my parents had in their freezer, I'm throwing them in the tub, just straight cold water, and I'd put on motivational videos and just suffer more. Like, just loved it though, because like I just associated suffering with it's gonna make me stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And everything I did, like I did wrestling because I heard it made you a better football player, and so all the training, everything, and even when I did track, it's like I'm just doing this for football, like
Sure.
I'm just staying active, whatever. And I forgot where we're at in the story.
doesn't matter.
That was in my
your junior year, you had made it to state, took 8th.
yeah.
Yep.
So then it's track season, and it's on to the next thing. That's always just how I've been too. It's like win or lose, what's next?
Right.
And then going to the track season, I'm starting to develop, right? Like I'm 180 or whatever I am at the time, starting to grow, because I started high school like 5'10", 140 pounds, like I was saying. But then I'm growing every year, lifting more, getting stronger. And I was actually so weak and so scrawny that like I'd work out with Mike Husky,
Yep.
which is one of my best friends who got me into football too. And I'd have to wear like the squat bar would hurt my back
pad?
'cause I did not. Yeah, I
Gotta
would
put the little stingray pad
yeah,
on there.
I'll just say the pea pad is what people called it. But because it just hurt my back so much, because like I just didn't have traps or back muscles at all. Like I'm
Right on
super
the bone.
Yeah, just straight bar to bone. I'm like, I don't know how these guys are lifting it without this thing. This sucks.
It's so funny how starting in the weight room always comes with its own stories. Like, I was really messed up when I started lifting, and so there was a lot of things like, the very first day that I went into the weight room, my brother was like, "It's Monday, International Bench Day. Let's go do some bench press, right?" So we go in the weight room, and every single bench is taken, and he looks at me dead in the eye and goes, "You're doing squats." And so we go over and we do squats, and that was a ton of fun. He kept like putting more and more weight on and making me do it more and more times, and I was like, just thought I was gonna die. But at what point, like in that first week, he was like, "Okay, we're gonna do some overhead press," and I had just recently dislocated both shoulders at different times, But he's like, "We're gonna do some overhead press." So we got like the 5-pound dumbbells, and I got him up here, and then he's like, "Okay, press," and I was like, "I can't." Like, I'm like, they're not going anywhere. They're just sitting there. And then like, we went to do the like pull downs.
Yeah.
And I had a really hard time getting my hands all the way up to the bar. Like I could get them out in front of me like this, but I couldn't get them all the way straight overhead. And so I'd have to grab it and then sit down, and I could feel like all the like scars in my shoulders like tearing as they like got stretched out above my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was doing pretty well in sports at that point, and I was like, how am I this messed up? And I didn't even know about it,
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it was a good time. Good time. Starting lifting's always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so then that senior year track, whatever, go through, and then I medaled in the discus, like 4th place, whatever. And then now it's senior year. You know, this is the last go.
Yep.
And like that whole summer, whatever, I'm taking it full bore. And I'm kind of a believer in destiny. Like, I believe you shape your own. Like, you can do all the right things, and like it's just destiny that you're gonna win or whatever you want to do. But if you start doing the wrong things, like, you know, that's
right.
just how it is.
Yeah.
And so I come in, and this was, you know, the best year for me. You were there, freaking.
I was there.
Like 190 now. Yeah, I'm actually like an athlete. And I was a running back, whatever, kick, like, you know, I was just never off the field. It was actually kind of annoying. But that's when things really started happening for me, because I think I set the kick return record, like kickoff or whatever, is 99 yards. That was at Wilson.
Yep.
Or Stadium High School, but we're playing Wilson playoff.
Stadium Dome.
And then
or bowl.
I think I set the rush record from scrimmage, which was like 92-yard touchdown, whatever. And I'm thinking, oh, dude, like things can actually happen. Like but I wasn't receiving any letters, you know,
Yeah.
for like visits or anything. And I'm like, oh God, dude, like this is go mode. And then, anyways, we have a pretty good year. Lost a really tough game to Capital.
Yep.
That was
right
not
there
fun.
At the end.
Yeah.
Nope, that was a tough one.
And then, we were 1 win away from the playoffs, and then we lost that.
Yeah.
And then, you know.
Yeah, Capital had a crap start to the season, I even remember. So it was like, oh, we just beat Capital, and the last couple of games was like they just dominated, and they were on the up, and I think maybe we had taken a loss, so they just met us at the wrong time for us, right time for them.
Yeah, and, you know, we had a decent year as a whole football team, and we had a good team, I thought.
Yep.
But we just did not put it together. And, you know, I think we actually lost by a field goal, a 3-point field goal, I think.
Yeah, possibly,
that last game. And, you know, especially as a senior, it's like that's it. You know, your football career's in concrete for most of these guys. I think some went on to play college ball wherever. But, you know, dudes are crying, but, like, I just, you know, it's on to the next thing.
What's the next thing?
Yeah, it's wrestling mode now.
Yeah.
So then go into that season, and then I start tearing dudes' heads off. Like, I'm actually at a weight class where I'm competitive is 195. I'm still 187 though, so, you know, dudes still have weight on me, but like I was strong enough, I was fast enough and tough enough.
And you just get to eat.
Yeah.
You just get to train.
And yeah, like I never had that problem with cutting too, and I always ate pretty good, like my whole life. Lots of just, you know, whole foods, vegetables, steak, all that,
right.
You know. And I loved it, and I loved taking it seriously. And have a really decent year there, won league. Then I go to
I'm pretty sure this is you. It's foggy in my head. I've trained a lot of people, but I'm pretty sure it might have even been senior night at home, and you shoot on a kid. I think it was you. I hope it really is, or it's gonna be a weird story. And he lands, and he just makes this like there's just this like Yeah. And he like had like fucking tore his shoulder out or something. There was something where it was just like they were just like, oh dear God, they stopped the match completely, and they were just like, all right, you win, buddy. Like you need to get out of here. It was just totally. I still remember that because it was just like, what was that noise? Like, was there a bird in here? And like, dude, no, dude, that was that kid. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was the Capital Revenge Night, actually.
The Revenge Night.
They had a good football team. They did not have a good wrestling team.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, that's burned into my brain, man.
Yeah, so going through that, and then there's this really tough cat at Peninsula, and we meet in the finals. And I actually met him at CK, what I was talking about before, that tough tournament. And he was a full 195, and he was actually a wrestler. Like, this dude was a wrestler. And I'm telling you, dude, this guy head snapped me, and my whole body hit the mat. And I was like...
That's not supposed to happen. I'm not used to that.
Like you're doing a burpee?
Yeah, I was like, oh, man. So I lose a close match to him, and that's another problem I had too. Is like,
So this is at regionals?
no,
what level is
this
this?
was CK.
Oh,
Lose
this
a close one to
okay,
him.
at
Then
the
we meet at
Hammerhead.
regionals. Yep.
Okay.
And like anytime I lose to dudes, I think I shouldn't. I just when I'm training, that's all I think about, dude.
Yeah.
It's just like a picture of your face in my head when things suck, and I'm just like I will work myself to death to get my revenge or whatever. You
Right,
know,
yeah,
it's as
yeah.
weird as it sounds. Meet him at regionals, and he's still really he's just better than me. He's stronger than me. He's smarter, wrestler, all that. But I threw him, dude. Like I had such a chance. I actually threw him into the ref, like they're not refs, they're the scorekeepers or whatever.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have their table. Well, he shot in, and I threw him an over-under, actually. And I had him on his back, but it was out of bounds. Anyways, still lose, like 1 point or whatever it was. And I'm like, all right, still going to state, you know. Go to state. And I lose my first match.
Oh
And
God.
it's like, oh, this is not I lost that one by 1 point.
Uh-huh.
First round. And then I just had to win 2 just to go the next day. Won the 2, and then medal day shows up, and I think I won 2 or 3 in a row, and then I lose my last one by like a couple points.
So 3-4.
Yeah, and
3-4.
they call it like an Ironman. I took 4th in
Right.
state. They call it an Ironman if you lose your first one and win yourself
The rest
the
out.
third.
Yeah.
And it just like I look back at that with such regret. Not only losing my last match, but like I would have met up with him at the state finals,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Another chance.
you know. But it's set in concrete, dude. Nothing I can do about it. So now it's on to track.
Yep.
So go to track, and you have a decent year. You know, I was having fun though. Like when I was doing track, it's the most fun you're having. It's so laid back comparatively to football, wrestling, where it's
Right.
you know. So anyways, get to the state meet. And what really was kind of funny is I took 4th in shot put and then 8th in discus. But I was thinking to myself, you know, I'm a discus guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I kind of choked it at the state. And by that time I still had no offers at all. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, you know, I didn't have a 4.0, but I'm not like, you know,
Yeah.
just getting D's for degrees kind of a guy.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I had a 3.2.
Everything was there. It just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Right.
And anyways, it was the Shelton invite actually my senior year, and Mike was telling me, the same dude, football, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to OC. I'm like, what's OC? And it's Olympic College in Bremerton.
Which
And,
is just a half hour away from us, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the coach came out that big meet that we have, that's arguably his biggest state, the Shelton invite.
Yep.
And I run up to the guy, he's the head coach, and I'm like, hey, I'm Colton Paller. I'm like, can I join your team? And he's like, oh, yeah. Absolutely. So I'm like, cool, going somewhere. So, yeah, state happens, and then I'm like, okay, you know, now it's time for college. And then I got to really, you know, pour it on there because year-round it's just track.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Sure.
throwing, weight room.
Yep.
And that's when I started putting on some size. I got up to 205. I had a real hard time putting on weight, honestly. I feel like people have the opposite problem than I did. I just could not put it on. Like I'm eating until I'm sick kind of a thing. Just meat and rice all the time. Beef and chicken, whatever. And I get to OC, and I just took it so serious too. Like this is it. Like if I can't make it out of here, that's it. I'm done, and I got unfinished business. Like I gotta get to Michigan.
Still thinking about
Yeah,
somehow
yeah.
whooping that kid's ass.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know.
and pretty successful OC. Got to meet my throws coach Jake and Austin, awesome dude, and then Connor Laguerre, the assistant throws coach, awesome dude. And they believed in me as much as I believed in myself, which was just awesome. Like they were, they wanted me to go that next level.
Right.
And, we're just going to the small local meets like Puget Sound. I think the biggest one we'd go to is Spokane Community College, but that's where like Wazoo, Eastern, And at those meets, I'm thinking, those coaches are there. They know you're in a JUCO.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
pick me
You
up.
got to go somewhere.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking necessarily about that my first year. I just wanted to win. The NWAC is what we had, their conference. We didn't have nationals or anything. It was just the conference.
Sure.
And what was kind of cool is when I got my first year there, so I was only 169 foot discus thrower with the 1.6K in high school, and like a 52-foot shot putter with a 12-pounder. And I got to OC, and the first practices we're doing, I'm still there. Like usually you drop off. I want to say it's 5 feet at least in the shot put, 5 or 10. When you go
moving
to the
up to the 16. Yeah.
And then even
Probably 10 feet.
Yeah. And then from the 1.6K discus to 2 kilograms, which does not sound like a lot.
It is.
That's a lot.
Yeah. It feels
It's a
like your
lot.
shoulders coming apart sometimes.
And I'm still there.
Yeah.
Like I'm 48 feet with the 16-pounder and 165 with the 2K, which is like, that I set the school record there for the discus. And I was throwing hammer. Horrible hammer throw. As much as I thought I could do hammer, it's pretty funny.
Hammer's kind of a special baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's throwing's a weird sport. You just think you got to be big, strong, and grip and rip. Oh, no.
Yeah, it doesn't work at all.
It took me till my last year of college to just get my technique where it had to be. And it still needed a lot of tweaking and improving. But, I mean, as you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that first year I win the NWACs. I think I won just discus and then placed pretty good in shot and hammer. And then the second year comes around and he's emailing schools. He's like, where do you want to go? And I'm just emailing
Michigan?
everywhere. Yeah, Michigan.
Could you get me on at football in Michigan?
But yeah, just everywhere, dude. Any Big Ten school, like all this. And so he's emailing people, they're talking, but I'm still focused on just winning that next year. And but mid-season comes around, and I visit Eastern, Western Washington, Wyoming, and I think those are the only 3 I've really visited. But I had walk-on offers from Clemson, Notre Dame, which, like, for me, I was like, whoa, like these are big guys.
Right.
But walk-on, I can't do walk-on.
Yeah.
That's just, I can't. And so I'm visiting these schools, and I got to Wyoming, though, and and Wazoo. Visited Wazoo. I thought I was going to be a Cougar, but I go to Wyoming, and I'm like, dude, this is way up my alley here. Come back, still talking to people, or coaches, I guess, whatever. And I had to settle on a 20% scholarship to Wyoming. I'm like, all right, I can still eventually get to where I got to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Work your way up.
Because it's not a Power 5 school, the Mountain West, it's not SEC, it's not Big Ten. But
Yeah. Well, and something a lot of people don't realize, like when you're a kid, you don't understand how college scholarships work. Like they get an allotment. Every school gets 60 or whatever, and they spend 20 on football and 15 on basketball and 10 on baseball. So you got like, whatever that leaves over, 15 for every other sport.
Right.
And so, it's really, really competitive to get a scholarship just for track and field.
Oh, yeah. It's a whole nother, like you're saying, it's because I know at least there, the football team, it's either you're full ride or you're walk on. And, there's like 100 dudes or whatever it is.
Yeah, a giant team.
And then basketball, same thing. Like those are the money sports. The people actually, nobody's going out of their way to come watch a track meet.
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, when I visited Wyoming, Josh Allen was just there, and they got a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they built like $100 million sports complex, like brand new weight room. Like there's a football weight room, then there's the Olympic is what they call it, weight room. So it's like everybody else.
Right.
But it's massive. Everything's huge, brand new. Everything you can think of that's there, it's there. Then there's like a fueling station where you get your protein shakes and snacks, like fruit, whatever. And then you get a chow hall too. And this is all new to me. Like, you know, I'm cooking in my apartment for
Right,
myself.
at
Like,
OC,
there's none of that. Then you get, like, you know, your own team doctor, you get your own trainer, like all this. I'm like, oh yeah, like
that was one of my favorite thing about the recruiting trips. I mean, they pretty much sold me when they were like, there's a food hall and you can eat as much as you want to.
Yep.
I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in. I'll go to school.
Yeah. So, yeah, anyways, get done with that season. I won discus shot and hammer for the NWACs. And just saying this sounds kind of silly because it's like, I feel like people hear it, but it, you know, it took a whole lifetime of like just training and seeing it in my head. Like, all I want to do is be a Division I athlete. It was football for Michigan or whatever, but it's like, you know, things change as life moves on.
Just like you said, as the season ends, you had your dream. You just had to shift it a tiny bit. Yeah.
And then so I get out there, and what I really didn't realize my first week, because I only spent like 2 days there on my visit or 3, whatever it was. But then when I got there, it's 7,200 feet up. Like, it's the highest Division I campus in the country. And it's so dry, dude. My first week, my nose is bleeding every single night. I'm in my apartment. I'm like my skin's cracking. I'm like, what is going on, dude? I walk up a flight of stairs to class and I'm gassed. I'm like, what the Anyways.
Looking up altitude sickness on the,
you know, hitting the weight room for the first month. I'm like, oh, man, I feel a little obese or something here. But, you know, my coach, Carrie Lane, she actually coached Adam Nelson, if you know who that is. So she was his coach in the Olympics, and I think he was a gold medalist.
Yeah, Adam, his gold medal was kind of tragic because I think he won silver, and then a couple years later they tested B samples, and the guy who got gold tested positive.
Yeah.
And so he got his, if I remember the story correctly, they just like met him in an airport and gave him his gold medal like 8 years later, and that was a real bummer.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because when I was talking to her, she's like, do you know who I am? Kind of a deal. I'm like, I don't know. You know, like I don't look into things too deeply in the aspects of like the science of training, the people that are involved,
the pedigrees of coaches and stuff. Yeah.
I'm just like, you tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. Like,
yeah, I don't need to know who you are.
Yeah,
I'm ready to party.
Like and I was an engineering student at the time. Like, dude, I'm surviving with engineering, and then I just do what you tell me to do. Like at practice. I don't know. I couldn't name all the coach, like all that. I barely know the athletes that are really good, whatever. And my first year sucked big time. You know, I'm 18-hour drive away from home. And I don't know anybody either. You know, you got to make friends, which I did. You know, you got your track friends, and whatever, your classmates. But you know, I'm on an island out there. I'm not from there, but so that first year was a big adjustment. It's like I'm taking Calc 3 statics, and then like a Wyoming and U.S. government, like all the freshmen had to take that. So I'm in that, and then statics, Calc 3. Anyways, I have a loaded first schedule. Like my first semester sucked. Horribly. And you know, I'm training, I'm in the weight room. And then from the weight room I go to the library, and I'm there till like midnight, 3 a.m. sometimes, just, you know,
making it,
just hating life. But I'm, you know, chasing the dream. I'm like, you know, it sucks, but nothing worthwhile comes easy.
Yeah.
And so that first year, whatever, finally get to track. There's an indoor season. I forgot to mention that.
Indoor season's the best.
So, yeah, we're going to Colorado. We didn't travel too far in the indoor season. You know, we'd just go to Colorado a bunch. You know, you got Boulder, which has, you know, the Buffs, Colorado Buffaloes, CSU, our rivals in Fort Collins. You know, we're just pretty regional for the indoors. And, you know, I'm having fun. Like, I'm not a shot putter, but that's all I'm doing.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. No indoor discus.
Yeah. No indoor discus. I'm just, and I can score points. That's, you know, whatever. And, but then we get to outdoor season. And what's really funny, I'll never forget this, dude. I overslept for our first outdoor meet. Yeah. I get a phone call from my coach. Where are you? I'm like, oh God, not a great start. So I had all my stuff ready to roll. So I just grab it, rush over there, get in the van, and we're driving down to Fort Collins for the first meet. And I could, she's hot. Freaking white knuckling the steering wheel. We're the last van that's taken off because of this guy. Like,
you sit in the back and try to be invisible.
yeah, just I'm here. But then we get down there, and then I PR first meet, and I PR like 172.
Nice.
And that kind of simmered things down a little bit. Yeah, still wasn't great. But then and then we get to I'll just fast forward to the end of the year. Get to the Mountain West Championships. That was in Sacramento, California. Get there, take fourth, and I don't make it to because there's regionals there too. And the top 3 dudes are from my rival school, Colorado State.
Yeah.
And dude, I just chapped my ass to no end. And so then I get back to work. It's summertime, and laser focused. I swear to God, I have a printout of that discus final.
Yeah.
And dude, like, I'm lifting weights all summer, throwing, and I just look at anytime I got tired or thought, man, I just need a rest day. Oh no, no, these guys are probably putting in work right now. And then come back that next season, and what happens? COVID happens.
Yeah.
Oh,
So then
shit,
I
yeah.
get sent home, and everything's locked down.
Yeah.
But dude, I've built like a little home gym, working out at the home, and then I'd sneak over to I forget what Christian schools across town here.
Yeah.
Like Mason County,
Yeah, just
the little one.
yeah. So I'm like sneaking out of the way because they have a little, just it's like an elementary school.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
had a throwing circle, and they were still like, one of the groundskeepers came up, and I'm like, do you care? Like, nobody else is with me. It was a weird time, and I'm just throwing off this really crappy thing, and I just did that all summer long. Come back that next season, and first meet in Pueblo for outdoors. I'll just skip indoors. Not a good indoor
Would
guy.
this be your last season of NCAA eligibility?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah. It was
Yeah.
weird deal.
Without like COVID.
Oh yeah,
COVID
COVID
rules
extensions and
and
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I was supposed to redshirt that year that COVID happened, because she's like, do you want a redshirt? I'm like, well, yeah, I want a redshirt.
Yeah. Who wants to compete?
Right.
And can't compete, right?
Yeah. Well, that was before COVID. Sorry, I'll backtrack it, because it's like I got my first season in there, and then next season she's like, I think you'd benefit from a red shirt, develop you more, bigger, stronger, whatever. Because at this point I'm 230 now, and I'm lean,
Right.
and I'm mean, strong, and because we had our own weightlifting coach, whatever. Everything was very next level
Right.
in aspects of nutrition, training, all that stuff is just like a huge benefit to me. And so yeah, I'm like, yeah, I want a red shirt. But then COVID happens, and something weird happens. I didn't know any of this, but I'm like, yeah, anyways, come back the next season. Then I'm throwing 190 or whatever it is, like first meet. And I was number 6 UW all time for discus. And go through the whole season winning meets, and I'm feeling good. Like, this is the destiny I'm talking about. Like,
Right.
I've just believed there's no stopping this. Like, there's too much momentum
Right.
pushing me forward. And I was so lucky to never get like a major injury, whatever. You get banged up, blah blah blah. But I, took advantage of all the training and stuff too. So anyways, get to that final season, win the Mountain West in discus, take 3rd in the shot put, and then move on to regionals. And then, you look at the numbers, and I'm going against. It's like every team west of the Mississippi.
Right.
So you got all the big dogs like UW, Cal, like all of it, you know. But I'm thinking like I'm doing it, dude. This is it. This is for all the marbles. Like, the chips are down, and I just never had that problem of folding under the pressure. Like,
Sure.
some dudes, you can see them, they're shaky, sweat, whatever. I just never had that problem that last year, because I just believed in it so much. And
Yeah, you've almost convinced yourself that this is already played out. I'm just living it now. Like,
Yeah,
I already
no.
know where
Yeah.
it's going
Like,
to end. Like,
all the hard work's been done, and I'm not folding under the pressure. Like, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. And because I could see it in some of the dudes' eyes, they're second-guessing themselves. So you got big dogs that are fouling out, whatever. I throw decent, and I'm able to move on to the NCAA Championships.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, well, now the next thing is I got a medal.
Yeah.
right?
Like, I'm not just going to show up just to show up there. So then we're in Eugene, and then it's, all the big dogs. It's, people from Florida. It's the whole top 16 in the country.
Mhm.
Right.
And it's the same thing, dude. It's like, I'm there. Like, it's go time. And just got super lucky, honestly. Dudes are folding under the pressure, and kind of a weird year for discus. And it was just kind of sad because it was still the COVID stuff. So the stadium's pretty empty for the most part, which kind of sucked looking back at it. But, still did it.
Mhm.
And it was a lot of fun getting there. And was able to take 7th in the country. And, I can always have that hanging on the wall. And, yeah,
Yeah,
that's the whole shebang right there.
Yeah.
you got some honors with that, right?
All-American and everything.
Yeah, yep. Sorry,
Yeah,
first
with
team
that
All-American, and then academic All-American with that, and I was just really proud of that. You know, it's like I feel like I was representing, the family name, the town I'm from,
Mm-hmm.
the school I'm at, and OC, like everybody, like I've like Jake and Connor, Coach Lane, all like everybody.
Right.
It's not just a me show. It's like, we stand on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really does. Like, as a coach, like seeing your kids be successful is freaking awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's the
there's
best.
nothing better.
Yeah.
than that. Like,
Yeah. So, how was it? Like, you made it to Olympic just by introducing yourself to the coach. Well, and
Yeah.
throwing far, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was there, and my buddy Mike's talking to him like, hey, dude, like,
Yeah.
can I throw at your school?
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I thought you'd never ask. Cool.
Yeah, that was something when I went through the whole recruiting thing. I was surprised to find out that a lot of smaller, like big schools, have recruiting personnel, and so they send out letters and they know who everyone is and stuff. And then a lot of times smaller schools don't. And so, like, if you had your eyes set on a smaller school, sometimes if you just shoot them an email or introduce yourself to the coach or whatever, like that's all you really need to do.
Yeah, because I was so ignorant to all that stuff.
Mhm.
I just thought they did all the heavy lifting.
Uh-huh.
Like the recruiters saw or noticed or whatever. And no, it turns out that
Yeah.
you got to do a little work yourself too, which
Right.
I just had no idea. Like if I wanted to play football, I guess I could have been emailing people or
right,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know any better. And yeah.
Yeah. So takeaway for athletes or parents, right? If
Yeah.
if your kid wants to compete, start sending out some emails, email some coaches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. And don't be afraid to start small.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, as you're going for that big goal, make sure you've got some other things down. Don't just hold out for that ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of really great coaches and really great developmental programs and stuff at every level. So you don't just have to go to, Ohio or
absolutely.
Alabama or whatever to get a good,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so before we transition to the next phase,
Uh-huh.
I feel like that's the perfect time for Monroe's random ass question.
Okay.
So we got to pause for our music that we don't have yet, but it's coming. I think by the time Colton's video airs, there's going to be this music right here. I don't even know how long it is. I'm thinking like 5 or 6 seconds.
I'm
All right, and now Monroe's random ass question.
Uh-huh.
I got some things coming along
Oh,
here.
God.
Okay.
Going big time. Oh yeah, and we're taking submissions for Monroe's random ass question.
Yeah. If you have any
so-
ideas,
Yeah,
put them
yeah.
in the
Put them
comments.
on. Just go on to Instagram, follow. I ain't gonna listen to you unless you follow and have at least liked 3 things. All right, and I'm gonna hop over to YouTube and see if you've watched enough video.
That's right.
All right.
Your participation isn't good enough unless it meets the arbitrary standard that Monroe sets.
Yeah, making us popular. All right. So this is the question we got here. All right, this is still a Monroe original because I know that you've probably had a couple. I don't know. Well, you might have cruised around, but this is best I'll even if you want to go worst, if you have a worst, best, and if you have one worst road trip that you've ever taken.
For sport or just in life?
No, in your life.
Oh man.
And if you guys want to think about it, I could start because that's kind of a unless it came right to your head. All right, because I have both really good ones.
Okay, hit us with it.
Okay, so the best road trip, just got back from Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
No kids yet, so it's just me and my wife. And we did.
Children are a burden.
It makes long road trips tougher, that's for sure. We went to first to the Redwoods.
Oh,
down in Northern California, continued down like with San Francisco and all of the Northern California things, went down to Los Angeles, did like 3 or 4 days in LA, Hollywood, and all of the things that you do in Los Angeles. Went over to Vegas for a couple of days, suite in the Bellagio, spending that Afghanistan money, you know what I mean? Like super irresponsibly.
Every penny you make, 30 grand is infantry, and you spend it all at the Bellagio.
Out of all the things I spent with my Afghanistan money, I only own one thing still, because we just spent everything and then slowly had to sell it back off as I was just broke because I got out of the military. I still have a poker set. That's it. A poker set. It's my prized poker set. Truck gone, quad gone, house we were in gone. But went to Vegas, saw the Blue Man Group. That was pretty awesome. If you've never seen those and you're in Vegas, if they're still doing it, I think they are. Freaking awesome. And then back, drove kind of north through like Utah and Idaho and stuff. Like by far the best.
Yeah.
Beautiful, awesome. We stayed in the locations long enough that it wasn't like we were waking up and driving again. Like we stayed a couple days at each location. Freaking awesome. Worst is Christmas 2 years ago. So like probably 2023, I think. We go and visit like on the 20th, go and visit family in Arizona, Phoenix. But it was cheaper to fly into Vegas and then rent a car and drive than it was to just fly into Phoenix.
Okay.
So it's like, whatever, we'll go, we'll see the Grand Canyon, we'll do this Christmas thing in Flagstaff, drive down. Drive down was cool.
Nice.
Maybe a little long, but it was awesome. We start driving back on the return trip, and it's a blizzard in Seattle. So we're waiting in the airport in Vegas, not necessarily a place that I really want my children to be hanging out for a real long time, at the age of 12 and 8 or a little bit younger. But we're sitting in the terminal. Okay, we're waiting. We've probably been there like 3 hours. They're canceling all sorts of flights to Seattle, but ours isn't canceled. Cancel more. Ours isn't canceled. So like everybody that's in there is like, there must be something about ours. Either the pilot's got to get back, or there's somebody on this flight that's like, we're going, because it's the only Seattle flight not canceled.
Right.
For like 8 hours, and they're just delaying. They're like, they're getting it. They're gonna clear the runway. We're going. Don't worry about it. We're going. So we're in the terminal legitimately, I think, for 8 or 9 hours, and they cancel it.
Yeah.
And so the thing about the cancellation is you got to go to the desk and then like reschedule your flight. So I walk down there. There is probably 4,000 people in this line because they've been in. Like I'm the last flight.
8 hours, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I go up and I hear people talking. They're like, there's so many people that are displaced that by slowly putting them on flights, like it's like 6 days. You're going to be in Vegas for like 6 days before you ever.
Right.
And it was like, screw this. I'm renting a car. You know, I'll just drive. I don't give a crap. I can make that. So we go rent a car, but I didn't realize you couldn't, like, even though it's like Hertz and Hertz, you can't rent a Hertz car in Vegas and just drop it off in SeaTac. They don't like that. They will
rent a U-Haul
for like another $1,000.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So like I was like, whatever, pay. So now it's like I'm already inconvenienced. We're leaving. It's getting dark, and if you've ever driven through northern Nevada, it's like it is so dark it's disorienting. You can't tell where the sides of the roads are, or if it's a cliff or you're on desert, because there's no light. It's just flat dark. Drive up to Reno. As soon as we start leaving, one of my kids and my wife flew.
Oh,
They're
no.
vomiting. We're stopping on the side of these roads. Who the hell knows what's out here? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like all sorts of creatures. Just sickness. We get to Reno. I sleep. She was supposed to take over and drive, so I drove until I was like cracked out, tired. And then we wake up like 2 hours later when we had to leave again, because this is like December 23rd. Like, we have stuff happening in like 12 hours for Christmas Eve.
Right.
And she's like, I can't. I'm vomiting everywhere. We literally had to steal the casinos that we stayed in, casino's garbage can, and bring it to the, like, that's how sick everybody was. So it's just like, now it's the rest of the way driving into snow. The snow was from Northern California to Washington. It was insane.
Yeah, it was a pretty intense storm.
Just falling asleep. I was on like my 8th Monster, you know what I mean? Like, just cracked out. There's just cars all over the sides of the roads. Just, dude, I got home. That was the most miserable trip I've ever been on.
Yeah.
So that's the shittiest road trip. And my kids won't even, they're like, hey, we're going to go to this. They're like, how far away is it? It's like 1 hour. They're like, we're not interested. Like, no, trust me, it's going to be, they're like, I don't think they'll ever drive anywhere ever again. I like ruined road trips for the kids. Like,
Yeah, like, just forever.
it's bad. Yeah.
You got one? A best and a worst?
Yeah, they're both trips to Wyoming, of all places. And so when COVID happened, this will be the worst. It was such a quick deal. It's like you get an email from the school, and it's like, rest of the year's canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Then it's like, I'm hearing rumors that they're going to start shutting down, like, road travel, like shutting down state borders and stuff. So me and my roommate, he was from Newberg, Oregon, and I'm from Shelton, Washington. And, dude, we're just packing our rigs. Like, we just pulled up on the lawns.
Yeah, so they
open.
like
Get out of there as fast as you can.
kicked you out of the dorms and everything, because was there an
No.
option to stay?
Yeah,
like, could kids
like
stay?
you could have stayed,
Okay.
but I'm like, I'm getting home. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on,
It
but
could rest of the year. I'm not just
Yeah.
sitting in a dorm. Like,
I'm going home.
Yeah.
So we're loading stuff. And I think it was like noon or whatever that we started. And by the time we got on the road, it's like 9 p.m. And I'm already tired, dude. Like, honestly, like emptying the entire apartment. Because I don't even know if, who knows when we're coming back.
right.
Crazy times. And we both hop on the road. And he actually had his riverboat. We'd go fishing and stuff. And he's hooked up to that, and I'm following him. And it's like I'm saying, it's like 18-hour drive, like 1,400 miles or whatever it is, southeast Wyoming. And start at night, dude. And by the time I got just like northern Utah, just past Salt Lake City or whatever, I'm starting to do this, bob my head. It's like you're saying, just pitch. There's no lights.
Yeah.
Just pitch black, and I just see nothing but his trailer taillights.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like hypnotic.
Yeah, dude, yeah. It
Right,
was
right.
like,
Follow him right off the road.
yeah. And I had like 4 Bang energy drinks, like you're saying, dude. Like, you just slam one and nothing's
Yeah.
happening.
It just does nothing.
like-
No effect. Like,
Sweet. But where was it? Was like Mountain Home, Idaho, or somewhere in southern Idaho, dude. It's like 5:30 in the morning or something. I pull into McDonald's and get the breakfast, and I don't know what it was about this ginormous cup of black coffee, but dude, I'm sipping that and the sun comes up and it's like a whole new breath of life. It was insane. Like, I found a new love for coffee that day. It was insane because it's cold out. It's like March or whenever it was that it happened, and it's still like 10 degrees outside
Sure,
or whatever
yeah.
it is. So it's like just that hot coffee with the sun coming up, dude. It was like a whole new breath of life, and just nonstop all the way home. And
once that light comes up, it's
it's
at
It
least
definitely
more
changes.
manageable. Yeah,
Yeah.
Just going in the pitch dark
you
is
get your
just tough,
second
dude.
win, dude, and it's like, oh, thank God. But the coolest one is my second year coming back out there. It was actually that COVID year, so summer when I came back out there. I went with my parents because we did the deal where we went through Spokane, then down, stayed the night in some super small town in Montana. Then we hit Yellowstone all day.
Awesome.
Super cool, bison, elk, all that good stuff, and then Old Faithful.
Yeah, because you're about this far away, right? The opposite sides, Yellowstone to Wyoming.
Yeah, I think
University?
Yellowstone is like, it's
In
the
that
whole
northwest,
opposite
yeah,
side. So it's still like 8 hours away or whatever.
Because
but
in my head, it's like, dude, you live in Wyoming, I'm going to Yellowstone. But it's like,
yeah.
that's a long ass trip.
Oh, yeah. And there's no traffic in Wyoming. So, like, an 8-hour drive you're moving some serious miles.
Yeah.
In an 8-hour drive. But, that was just super cool. Because I've never really been to many national parks other than what's around here. And yeah, that was definitely the best one. The whole night, one shot, not fun. Horrible. Don't recommend.
Yeah, I had some buddies that drove after we were all kind of getting out after we got back from Afghanistan. They like drove home to like Virginia alone,
Ooh.
and it's just like, dear
That's so gross.
God, man. It's 50-50 at best that I don't drive off the road.
Yeah.
Like I could fall asleep while driving all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrible.
Caffeine tip for everybody who's listening. Caffeine's not good at making you more awake. It's good at keeping you from getting more tired. So it's a adenosine reuptake inhibitor, I believe, which means that it keeps the adenosine from telling you that you need to go to sleep. So if you're already tired and you start drinking caffeine, it's not going to be, it's too late. If you know you got like a 16-hour drive, just start sipping on a coffee at 8 a.m. or whatever, and just don't stop until, you want to go sleep.
It compounds, doesn't it? Like once you stop,
Uh-huh.
and it just hits you.
Yeah.
I
Just
got ya.
Smash once it gets out
Just,
of you.
yeah, straight 12-hour nap.
Yeah. I'm probably messed that up, but I'll look it up. We'll do it. Maybe we'll do a video on caffeine later.
And if truckers have taught us anything, meth.
There you go. Problem solved.
You
You get that kind of quality health advice from the
know,
Red Gauge
Red Gauge Nutrition, baby.
Don't do meth and drive.
No,
Don't do it.
That's
do
obviously
it.
a joke for the people that down-liked our freaking videos, you bums.
You bums.
No, you're not allowed to like it. We said it from the beginning.
Yeah. So this was kind of a funny question for me because my parents got a divorce when I was 16, and they probably should have got a divorce when I was like 9 or 10 or something. So basically every road trip that I can remember is the worst road trip that I ever went on.
Well, you have to have had one with your kids. What's furthest?
Yeah.
Maybe
So-
your best one is to Olympia.
Yeah. So like since well, it's the funny thing because I got like a little bit of PTSD about it. They got so weird sometimes.
Yeah, if you're gonna start crying or something, you don't got to share that one.
No,
right?
I'm gonna start crying.
Okay. Just weeping.
It's just that I always, every time we take a road trip, I just assume that it's gonna turn out terrible until
Sure.
it doesn't. So
Yeah.
when we get home, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. But like the whole
You're
time
just
that
waiting
we're going,
for the hammer to fall.
Yeah. So but yeah, like we took a trip to the ocean that was a ton of fun. My wife and I, before we had kids, did like the 101 loop. That was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
So like
It's a good one.
we've had good ones. I didn't enjoy them when it was happening. But I'm
Yeah,
getting
so
better. You know what I mean? With time.
This was like your PTSD question, right? Or
Yeah.
You're gonna make me start running the questions by you now. Like, can't ask me about road trips, man.
No, you can ask me about road trips. It's just going to be a sad answer.
It's like Joe Dirt
Yeah.
dropped off. You're like, I used to have
Left-
another brother.
Yeah. Left at the Grand Canyon. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Is it time to transition to whatever we were going to transition to before?
Yeah. So we've heard. I know I got a couple of questions for Colton.
Okay. Fire away.
I can't see the screen though
Oh.
from here. This is what I have to do if I want to see the screen.
That's what you look like normally. That's just normal.
This is my posture right here. So it makes more sense for you. You just have to kind of shift your eyes. I guess I could like stretch and like.
Nonchalantly
Yeah.
dip down. I shouldn't have put the light there. I apologize.
No, it's good.
That was rude
It's
of me.
perfect. That's why I say you ask the questions.
Cool. All right. So we talked a little bit about recruiting, right? So like you have some, if you want to go to school somewhere, that doesn't hurt to reach out. And then the transition from junior college to being a Division I athlete, right? You mentioned that your coach was shooting out a lot of emails on your behest. How involved were you in that process of trying to move up the ladder, that one rung?
Oh, he just asked me, Jakin, like, where do you want to go?
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere, dude. Does not matter to me. I just got to get to that next level. But then it does fall on you when because he gives you they will give you your personal information to reach you.
Right.
And then so you're on the phone. And it's kind of funny. It's like a bidding war, kind of like one coach will ask you, like, well, who else are you looking at? Like, what are they offering? All this. And I should have, like, lied my ass off.
Yeah.
Like, they're offering me full ride at UW. You know what I'm saying? Like, but,
no chance they know each other. No one's going to fact check that.
Yeah, it'd be
guy
like they
pulling my leg?
haven't offered a full ride in
Yeah.
16 years. Shut the hell up.
Who are you
Like,
talking about?
It's funny because that does go like both ways. Like not only do they want to know what other people are doing, but then you know, they'll tell you like, well, you know, you're number 1 on our list right now, and you know, we'll see how the chips lie and how your season goes, and it's really like a big shaker, right? Like there's all the athletes in motion and all the coaches in motion and all the money that the programs have that goes up and down, and there's a real element of like, you know, just like back alley dice game for like where you actually end up at.
Yeah. And you're number 1 on their list, but their list goes sideways.
It's all number ones.
It's
only number ones.
Yeah. Speaking of that, there was a school in Alabama that really did that. It was super weird. I was like, went to the visit down there, and you know, I've never been to the South before or whatever, and it's like definitely different culture thing.
Right.
You know, they all talk goofy. And
you heard that. You heard it.
Yeah.
It was him that said it, not me.
Yeah, they like to eat, you know, catfish and grits and stuff. I'm like, you know,
that sounds delicious.
Is there any normal breakfast
cuisine?
food? Yeah. And anyways, like you're saying, when it came down to the brass tacks, it's like, you know, okay, well, what's the deal? And it's like, oh, well, you know, we're gonna give you as much as we can. And I'm like, okay, well, it's getting down to the crunch time, like,
yeah.
So I just absolutely ignored him. Like,
yeah, as much as you can isn't good enough for.
Yeah, and I had coaches who were like, if I can give you 80%, then I can give this other girl 20%, and then I get both of you. Can you do 80%? You know,
yeah.
It was like, you know, I was like, oh man, make your best deal. I don't know. I'm not a negotiator. I'm 17.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like the ball's just in their court, unless I guess if you're like LeBron James of college athletics or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah. Did you have on your visits, so I've told the story before, but when I went and did my athletic visits, I remember there was a school I was really excited about, and I went, and after I was there, I was not excited at all to go anymore. Like, the kids didn't like each other. The coach was like, if I get the opportunity to coach at a higher level, I'm leaving, you know, and then I went to another school that I wasn't super excited about, and all the kids liked each other a lot. They all hung out together outside of practice, you know, like if they were going to have fun, socialize, and get in trouble, they'd make sure they were all safe and together and everything, and they just had a really great vibe of like super close team, you know, really productive practices, like everything about it felt good. So like when you went and did your recruiting or your sports visits, like did you have that kind of same experience where there was schools where you were like,
No, I didn't visit too many, and every one I went to, I saw myself honestly fitting right in.
Yeah.
You know, like anywhere. Like I never had a bad recruiting trip or like getting to campus and I'm like, hey, absolutely not, kind of a thing. Like every school's different or whatever, all the coaches and people, you know. But you know, I just saw them all as like opportunities, like, you know, this can work. Like all of them could work, but you know, you factor in how far away from home is it, you know, like can I make it home for holiday, whatever, like, and then, you know, I guess the big thing was like conferences and, you know, how would you score? How would you fit in, like you're saying? Because it's kind of hard to gauge just from a couple-day visit with people.
right.
You know, they're all trying to sell you the program.
Yeah, you're getting the sales pitch. So.
Yeah. So, you know, you got to take that into account. But you just, I don't know. When I got to Wyoming, it just felt good. Like it just felt right. Like it was just. And it honestly was, I'm happy I went there and it worked out really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's maybe like a good bit of advice, you know, is to look for something that feels like the right fit.
Yeah, and it's impossible because, you know, I thought Michigan's the only route.
Yeah.
And I never did go to Ann Arbor, but, you know, it's just how things work out. And it worked. It just worked out for, you know, me. And you just never know until you actually go there. Like you're saying, you know, it's like maybe I don't want to go here or whatever, but
yeah, that was a really interesting experience for me. So you got all done with your, you know, last year at Wyoming, and you kept throwing, right?
Yeah. So I got a job back in town here, and I was thinking about using my degree that I got for that company eventually, and I was flirting with the idea of training for Team USA and all that good stuff, but at the end of the day, like it was like 6 months I spent kind of flirting with the idea of like, okay, I could just stay here and I could keep training and yada yada yada, but I ended up just not doing it because it's like since COVID, because it was supposed to be, the 2020 Olympics, then
Right.
it turned to 2021. And right after the Division I Nationals, it was like the next week they had the Olympic trials in Eugene.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, well, I could train every single year, try to make Team USA every year and go to those meets. But to be the Olympics, that's a whole nother cycle.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole 4 years of training
Mhm.
just for a maybe. And I was like, I'm getting kind of old. I'm already 22. like,
Super old.
Yeah. Biological clock's ticking here. I'm going to get wore down pretty soon probably. Because I was, like I'm saying, I'd never had a catastrophic serious injury, luckily. And just thinking about it, it's like, you got to fight trying to get sponsors, and you're still got to work, and then you're training at like the highest level.
Right.
So it's like, dude, that is a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And I did flirt with the idea, but then I just, I gotta get myself set up for, life, and who knows, I might regret it, but it's just how life works. So,
Yeah, I mean, we had talked about this to a couple of the other coaches. I can't remember if it made the clips or not, but some countries, the Olympics are kind of their big thing. Like we talked before we started, like there's a lot of things in America sports like that. I don't want to say they're like definitely not necessarily better, but like more focused on American football and the NBA and things of that nature that get supported. And I feel like the Olympic sports kind of fall through the cracks. And we had talked to some other people about how some other countries make programs that allow their hopefuls to essentially survive and make sure that they're making money and things of that nature while they're still training for the Olympics, where you kind of had that, like, I need to start my life, or do I sit here for 4 more years and train? It's like, man,
Yeah.
I wish we could have some sort of support for those athletes. And I don't know how you would figure out who's a hopeful or not. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be some ways. I mean, they're all sports that are measured. So it would just be cool to allow our athletes to continue to train,
Yeah, it's always hard. Like, I mean, you're a good example of one of the struggles for having those kinds of like long-term development programs where you were kind of a late bloomer, right? Like if you had had your 19-year-old body as a 17-year-old, your college career your college career probably would have been a little different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, it would have been great to have been one of those early bloomers, like Brian Nault. Like,
sure.
I just remember that dude's just a giant, like his entire, and then even my buddy Mike, he was fully developed, had a beard in 8th grade. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, what's going on? But
you don't know, you know, if you all of a sudden maybe you don't have that chip on the shoulder, that drive, you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden you're one of those guys that are choking.
Well, and the same thing holds true. Like, even if you go to, the NCAA Championships and you pick that pool and you pay for all of them, some of them are going to keep getting better and some of them aren't. Like, you never know what the ceiling is.
You
for
don't
people.
know where. Yeah. It's funny. I should have thrown this in, but one of my favorite training stories actually is from Paller. He came back out. Imagine you were already done with college. You were coming back and you'd been hitting some workouts in the weight room at the high school, and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to be doing some warm ups." We had been chatting. And you're like, "I got to warm up a little bit," and they're 315. I think the first weight that was on the bar was 315. And I was like, "Oh, you must be doing some deadlifts or something." And he starts ripping hang cleans. And I was like, "What the fuck?" I literally was from over my desk. I was like, "Oh, what in the fuck is going on here?" Like, he was just snapping them off. I was like, all right, Paller got strong.
Paller got strong.
Yeah, no, I miss that. I'm all atrophied up anymore. Like, I'd grab that and I'd probably blow my spine out of in the clear. I'm just trying to pick it off the ground.
Yeah, one big thing, we briefly talked about this when you were coming in the studio today, was like, are you getting that itch a little bit? Like, you've been an athlete and you were driven, you're so driven on, getting to Michigan, right? Getting as far as you can. Like, what's scratching that itch? Is there anything? You know what I mean? Is like, where do you put that drive? Were you able to just that part of my life is done, or is there something like, are we going to see you all of a sudden start doing something else?
Well, I can apply it to my job right now or whatever. And once I get done with my apprenticeship, I want to coach.
Okay,
Like,
there you
know,
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get into coaching.
Because I feel like my actual athletic career that's set in concrete. I feel like already, like, it would take me at least a year at a minimum. I feel like just to get
back into shape.
Just to get back.
It takes a minute.
Yeah.
if you can get there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could. Yeah, you definitely could, but it would take a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like just helping the next generation, would be so much more rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're developing, the next guys.
Yeah.
And
It's fantastic.
Then they might coach one day or whatever. Because, just the high school guys like Coach Lacey, all those guys. You guys put that fire in my belly, and then it'll carry you through life, and it might not even be athletics for everybody. It's like a lot of people just go through high school, and then you can still point that towards just being a better human being in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A great work ethic. I don't know what I
You got this. You can do it.
Work ethic
Nice.
is no one's ever complained somebody has too good of a work ethic.
I have. I don't like looking bad in comparison,
Oh, so you get around people with good work ethic and you're like, dude, fuck this guy.
Yeah. I want to work. I need some more troglodytes in my life.
Yeah. That's why we're partners.
Yep. We're doing it. Yep.
Cofield and the Troglodyte. That's a new title.
Is Coach Knight still at the
Yeah.
high school there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to be his assistant one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Go back and work with
Good
some
kid.
throwers again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this how I'm gonna bait Knight I'm gonna say, hey, Paller said something really nice to you. I'm not gonna tell you where it is.
You just got to watch the whole
And he's
episode.
gonna watch the an hour and 17 in. He's gonna find it. Like, there you go, buddy.
There you go. All right. So, if you were given advice, what?
This is a great start to that sentence.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really need to work on that. I have like a real disconnect between the external and internal world, So like when my brain started to feed me something, all this just disappears.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think it's great for the show, but I think with practice we'll get there.
Like I said, our fan is fine with it.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you. In particular. When you look back at your training career, like, what do you think you got the most value out of in terms of like development as an athlete? I know that's a really broad question, but like, as a thrower, right? Because that ended up being your specialty, was throwing, right?
Yeah.
Was it like track time, field time, weight room time? Like, if you were to prioritize, we always give kids the advice like do your sport or your event as much as you can first, and then you go, it's kind of like speed work after that, power work after that,
Yep.
strength work after that, right? And until you can't do stuff anymore. There's definitely a limit in how much volume you've got in a day. But like, were there things in your career where you're like, man, I should have been doing this, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, or
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Take like
Just
red
the-
gauge supplements or
Yeah.
something. Like,
just like the high school weight room workouts, and then you go to the next level, like junior college. When I got to JUCO, it's just pretty much volume core, like lift heavy,
Mhm.
get big.
right?
And then when I got to Wyoming, it was like what's the word I'm looking for? It'd be like sectionalized, I guess.
Periodized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like a month or whatever of this program, and then
Mm-hmm.
like summertime it was 12 sets, 3 or 4 reps. It's just volume time.
Mhm.
Like in the summer, light throwing, mainly put on mass.
Right.
And then you get into like when you get to school in the fall, then it's kind of refine that, like still lifting heavy weight but for maybe more reps, kind of fine tuning that. Then it's like speed, like we're doing
Mhm.
sprints, light work, like lightweight, fat, because they'd have cameras that watch your bar speed
Oh, okay.
right.
for every lift you did, and you have to hit the meters per second or whatever
Mhm.
it was for every single rep, or you're moving down or up weight.
Mm-hmm.
And Like, I wish that the whole time from child to now, that would have been
Yeah,
been
so
great.
like for like the high school coaches, you got to go out and get like the fucking cameras and velocity meters and everything, and like
Yeah.
probably go get a PhD to even understand what the hell any of that is.
How to use them.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know. It's not super
mean-
hard to periodize training, to spend some time working on volume, spend some time working
No,
on
no,
strength, spend
right.
some time working on speed.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
real hard in the gym without like stop watching people's. Oh, that was 1.3 meters per second. That ain't fast enough, dude. You gotta get going.
Each
But yeah, essentially making sure that you're, postseason, off season, you're going to get as big, as strong, as fat possible.
Yep.
And then slowly through time, you're going to try to express that strength at a higher speed.
Yeah. Because, then when it's like competition time, the last thing you want's injury, strain, So you're moving a decent weight, probably 75-80% for just like 3 reps for speed. So you're still snappy, still strong. But yeah, it'd be like month after month, things are changing. So, they're trying to get you to the peak performance when it matters. So from when you got to school, like you put on size at least for throwers. I don't know how it was for, distance runners or whatever.
Right.
But for us, it was, get as big, as strong as possible, and you're going to be slower over summer. That doesn't matter. Because then you go into fall, and then by the time you do the month or 3 weeks, whatever it was, I can't really remember. But by the time it's indoor championship time, you're at the peak performance,
Right.
whatever. And then you restart. And then by the time outdoor season hits, then you're right back to peak performance. And then I kind of wish I spent more time recovering, being smarter about my training, I guess, in high school and especially at junior college. Like,
Yeah.
I'd always still ice bath and stuff, and took yoga classes, because stretchy, strong muscles are stronger than tight, strong muscles, especially for throwing, because you're trying to generate force and
Get some separation and everything.
like your muscles are rubber bands in throwing, like you're trying to extend for the snap and all that good stuff. So, but it was cool to just every level I'm always learning more and more. And if I kept going, I'm sure I'd be like, man, I'm such an idiot. Why didn't I think of that? Like, there's just so much more to it once you actually dive into, any particular sport, I guess. But yeah, like, and especially technique and throwing, like, Jesus, dude, every year I was at Wyoming, she'd just scrap the whole entire technique.
Yeah.
And then that last year it finally clicked for me. And then, because I was thinking of, by that last year, I was imagining the disc as like a hammer orbit. Like, I'm pushing that discus in an orbit, and it finally made sense to where I was actually able to be competitive
Right.
at a higher level. And, man, if somebody just explained that to me when I was in 8th grade, that would have been great.
Yeah, there's so many of those things. Like, I was pretty good at the hammer, and I threw in like an older style, really.
Yeah.
And then I tried to come back to it when it was COVID, right? Because like I was just losing it. I was like, I have to have something, and you could go out to a field when there'd be nobody there, and so like you didn't have to worry about being exposed or exposing other people or whatever. And so I started throwing again, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it the way that you're supposed to do it now. And like, man, that learning curve was like, it was, it's this steep, and it never stops. Like, it's just this constant of like, oh, okay, well, I'm still not doing it right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, and the littlest things, too, especially throwing, like, man, you're not turning your toe enough.
Yeah.
You're not turning your heel. You're not moving your hips enough. You're not getting enough separation between your shoulders and your hips. It's like, because you do some film study in high school and like when I was at OC, but like Coach Lane, dude, she was like, coaching was her life. And what was really funny is she's like this tall
Yeah.
and this big around. She was a distance runner in college.
Yeah.
And she's now coaching pros for Under Armour for distance running. But she just knows how to coach. It's really weird. Like, she coached very high level throwers.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny because you roll up and we're all great big dudes, and then our coach that's yelling at us is this big.
Yeah.
But just that film review and just trying to always think, especially, and it's so hard when you're actually like in the throw. It's like you could feel it sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I felt that I wasn't driving enough out of the front or whatever it is, and like I was so headstrong, boneheaded. Like it wasn't until that senior year where it all started to finally make sense and feel every single position. And
yeah, there's really kind of a big disconnect between the way that we describe technique and the way we experience it. You know, so like you talk about, you know, you're not turning your foot like this, or you're not, you know, getting your separation or whatever. But then when you're in the actual, you know, in the actual moment, it's like, oh, it feels like, you know, my upper body is being whipped by my lower body. Like it's the station, like almost like if you had like a ball on the end of a rubber band and you whip it around like this.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, it kind of feels like I'm catching it. Like the tension that I feel here when that ball is a long ways away is what I'm going for, not the tension that I feel up here, you know. You know, and so it's a very big disconnect. I really wish that there was more of a syntax around like what it was supposed to feel like, because I was always a pretty good mimic. So like if you show me somebody else doing something, I can usually do something that looks like it.
Yeah.
But then that almost creates a bigger problem where like, you know, you take those still shots and you're like, yeah, it looks just like Ulf Timmerman, you know, in each one of the pictures that we take, but the distance is not there. You know? And it's because those transitional bits, you know, the way that it actually feels to go through the motion was missing. You know? And so that's something that should be another piece of content that we can work on.
Yeah, you're essentially getting to the final position without actually learning how to like do the engagement.
Yeah.
And things like that. Where like they got there because that was the product of learning how to actively engage each piece, and you just got there without without the engagement.
In the throws, it's really all about connecting with your implement, right? So like having tension on that discus or on that shot put or on the hammer the whole time. You know, the more consistent it is and the more that you can accelerate it throughout the movement, the bigger the result is. But you can look like you're doing all the right things and have it be completely disconnected.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because was it like all sports, you're just trying to generate force on somebody else or an implement.
Right, and the ground. Yeah.
And man, is that true.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so simple.
I wish I would have thought about that more. Like, I don't know. I wish I could go back to high school and just smack myself across the head every now and again.
Well,
I think like kids should be aware, but like I would almost say like just carry that into your coaching.
Yeah.
Like the kids don't even worry about, let the kids play the game. You know what I mean? You just make sure that you're doing all of that in your coaching. You know what I mean? Make sure that wherever you wind up, your weight room has good periodization. Make sure that they're going through all of that.
I thought I put it on silent.
Goddamn duck in the studio?
Yeah, that was a duck in the studio. We didn't forget our checklist. We totally silenced our phones.
Yeah.
We were paying attention when we started this thing.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, because you don't want, that's the last thing you want the kid to do is be thinking about that. You know what I mean? You want to just find a way that you can come across teaching them without, you want that kid to just be thinking about that freaking guy that he's going to beat up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah.
We're just having more cognizant coaches trying their best. And
yeah, I mean, that's how the sports evolve, right? Is we learn best by experiencing it, right? So, like, you could tell kids until you're blue in the face, right? But until they actually go through and do stuff, you know, it's not going to mean as much to them.
I guess it would be kind of a fine line, especially in high school and the younger sides. It's like, you know, trying to get real into it, but it's like at the end of the day, they're just doing it because they want to have fun.
Right.
Like you don't want to be that angry stepdad coach that makes somebody hate the sport because you're trying to whatever
live your life through them.
Yeah, you know.
And you got to think, like we started this story, you're like, man, I wish I knew in the 8th grade. Where like in the 9th grade, you were still riding a bike through town, jumping into creeks to be a Navy. I don't think that information is connecting with that kid. You got to be ready for the learning. Like, so.
Yeah. Were your parents always real supportive of your sport career?
Yeah,
besides mom and wrestling.
Besides mom and wrestling.
Yeah, they never forced anything thing on me.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to like make them proud, and then I just it's like we're the high climbers, like we're supposed to be mean, tough SOBs. Like,
Yeah.
I want to carry that with me too, and yeah, that's why I took it so violently personal, just to bring it back to that. Like
That's episode title.
yeah,
Violently personal.
Violently personal. I very like that. That's a new shirt. I'm making a list of shirts that I'll obviously never make,
Uh-huh.
but I just have these great shirt ideas.
I think we'll make them. If we ever start making money, we'll get an intern and we'll just be like, watch all the videos.
Yeah.
Write down all of Monroe's
Anything that
shirt
could have
ideas.
been a shirt idea.
Yeah, we need it. We need to be good.
But
Yeah.
buy merch. Look, if you're watching this in the future, that might be a shirt.
Yeah.
If you're watching it when it releases, probably not a shirt.
Probably not.
Not there.
We're
not
growing.
there
We're
yet.
doing it,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
it's gonna be.
Somebody asked for a tumbler. Somebody was like, "Hey, where do I get one of those tumblers?"
Yeah.
I was like,
We should probably dig into that actually.
just hold on a second.
Yeah.
You know how long it takes me to do an Instagram post still? And I'm doing a lot of them. Like, I never know what's going on. But
Yeah.
I think that might be it right there.
Is that the show?
I think that's the show.
All right, well, we really appreciate you coming on.
yeah. Thanks for having me.
Do you have anything else you need to talk about before we get off?
Do you
Anything
have
important?
you want to plug your apprenticeship or anything? Like,
No.
you got a big TikTok following?
He does have a big TikTok following.
No.
Oh. No.
I didn't think so. I got excited there for a little while. I was like, holy crap, Colton's on TikTok?
He's got his own thing. It's like painting miniatures or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Totally orthogonal
Small
to sport.
wood furniture.
Small wood furniture. Like he makes like
Doll
bedroom
house.
sets,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they're tiny, teeny tiny.
That would
Yeah.
actually probably kill.
That'd be sick, man.
You should look into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you have any woodworking skill or anything, but
Oh God, no.
you went to school in Wyoming, man. You gotta.
I studied woodwork in college.
Of course you did.
Yeah, I was art major, which is weird that I teach calculus now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't there fucking math and art?
If you want there to be. Yeah. It's up to you.
That's my math and art dance.
It was beautiful. Everybody knew. Like anybody who's watching this is going to be like, oh, he's doing the math and art
That's
dance.
math and art.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right. This is done.
All right.
All right, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Oh, hey, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff.
Follow
We
us.
appreciate you.
Comment.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Have a good day.